Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. And I left that light on. Let me turn that off. Sorry about that. Got quite a bit to talk about today. Got 5 short video clips. And I'll start with what went on over the weekend. It was Missouri's opening day of rifle season on Saturday. And the shooting was not deafening. It was silent. I heard 3 shots all morning on opening day with good weather. I mean, it was like it wasn't, nothing drove people away. There just were either no people or the other possibility is there's very low deer. Some of you that are opposed to hunting are out there going, yay, that's great. Nobody was killing any deer. Except that you don't see the other side of the coin. And the other side of the coin is when the deer population gets too big, it creates all kinds of problems. First of all, people hit them with their cars. Second of all, as I've been saying all along, disease gets to them. And I'm afraid that's where we're at. I'm afraid the deer have gotten terrible disease. It's called CWD. Now, this has been coming on for years. It's been coming on for over a decade. You started hearing about CWD more than a decade ago, and maybe longer than that even. I'm just going by my memory. And you kept thinking, well, it won't get here, but it's now here. Let me give you a couple of examples that I don't have any proof that this was CWD, but probably was. And that is that there was a deer that was out here in our field, and it was just kind of standing there like, well, our big dog, Tucker, took off after. This was earlier this spring or summer or sometime. It was quite a while back. It was this year, but it was months ago. Anyway, he took off after it, and, once he's on something, you can't call him back. And we were saying, come back here, Tucker, and he took off. Well, the deer tried to run, but it couldn't run, and Tucker caught it and killed it just almost instantly. Now, that's not normal. And anybody that thinks that's normal, well, you just don't know nothing about deer hunting if you think that's normal, or deer in general, I mean. Well, then about a couple weeks later, Sue's riding back through there in the back 40, if you will, and she passes a deer that's just kind of standing there, and it's watching her as she drives by. Well, then she comes back by it a little bit later, and it's still standing there. She comes back by it again, sometime later, and it's still standing there. And she goes by it yet a 4th time, and it's still standing there. That's not normal. Now, I didn't see any evidence of it myself while I was out hunting this weekend, and I did see a few deer. I didn't shoot anything. But we have also, this is the first year that Phelps County, Missouri, has been included in the CWD mandatory take your deer in and have it tested. We're in that shape now, where we had never been included in that up till this year. So all of these things combined is, and then there's people have been on deer hunters for years. And it's just I can't think of words, you know me. Just like Facebook and YouTube and all that, everybody's downplaying it, and talking about how terrible it is and all this. And what's really weird is that hunters and people that are knocking it and talking it down and saying it's terrible to shoot a deer, they don't realize it, but hunters and those people are on the same side. I mean, completely, 100% on the same side. What do those people want that are talking it down. They want to see the deer, do well. And what do you think the hunters want? Do you think any hunter wants less deer, or any hunter wants deer to not do well? I mean, that would be stupid. We both want the very same thing. The difference is that hunters support the cause by buying permits. That also goes to help the conservation do their programs and do research and, find ways to help the overall population and to be healthy and all that. But unfortunately, we're in bad times. There's fewer and fewer hunters all the time. The deer populations keep growing until they don't. And I'm seriously thinking we're in serious trouble with deer and now the coyotes too. Like I told you, what was it, 5 or 6 years ago, I kept talking about how many coyotes we had. And I kept saying to everybody, I said, but then once you get that many, the disease takes over. I haven't seen a coyote in I don't know whenever. It's just nuts. And it's the same way with the deer, I think. I really think the deer population is way down compared to where it used to be. Just those are my thoughts on it. You can have your own thoughts and you can agree or disagree. It don't matter to me. I'm seriously telling you, I believe we're in a world of hurt, and I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. In fact, on Saturday morning, I didn't even see a squirrel in the woods Saturday morning. I saw a few birds, and that was it. It's getting spooky. It's getting real spooky. Okay, well, in other news or just inquiries here, I'm just curious, has anybody been keeping up with Itchy Boots? She's in Turkey, and I thought it was some really beautiful video footage that she put out again with her drone. And it's just amazing how many of these, cave dwellings that there are in Turkey. These people building their houses in caves, but so many of them have been abandoned now for one reason or another, rock falls and whatever. But anyway, it's pretty interesting. If you haven't been following Itchy Boots, you might want to check it out because it's some really beautiful footage. The first little video I just, in the last couple of minutes here, decided that I would show you this real quick. And this is just some more of Sue's flowers. Here we go. Thought I'd show you a little bit more on her orchids. This one's blooming. It looks real pretty. But you ain't seen nothing yet. Look at this sucker. That thing is really going for it, isn't it? It's amazing. Look at all the, I don't know what you call those things. We're going to call them dendrils, in case that's a term that applies. That's what those are, or something like that. I have no idea what that's called, but anyway. I thought those orchids were really pretty. They come and go during the year, and right now they're definitely showing their stuff. Anyway, I found yet another hornet's nest, and I think I had told you about this one already. It was the one down there at the flood, and I was going to go down there and see if I could get that. Well, here's a little short video clip on that. Well, here we go again. There's another hornet's nest way up high. I'll see if I can hit it. It's 40 feet in the air at least. down, but it hit everything on the way down. If it hadn't hit all that stuff, it'd probably be fine. But it hit a lot of stuff. Well, I found it. It's not any good, really. It's coming apart. It hit a lot of things on the way down. You could tell it was already starting to disintegrate. Look at the holes in it and things. I probably hit it with a pellet or a BB or two, but I don't think I hurt it any. I was shooting on this side of it. You can see there's a BB hole in it or two, but very little minimal damage there. Most of the damage is actually around on different sides and things. I'm not going to keep this one, unfortunately. It's just too far gone. But we tried. Yep. Well, you could see I hit that limb it was on with all 4 shots. And that shotgun is really got a tight pattern. It's amazing how tight the pattern is on that shotgun. Because at that distance, there's not too many shotguns that are going to break that limb. But it's got such a tight pattern that it breaks the limbs right off. I have found yet another hornet's nest. This will be the 4th one this year. I've never seen this many hornet's nests ever. The old timers would guarantee you, they would tell you that means there's a rough winter coming or something. I mean, there would be something about winter coming. But anyway, I didn't take any video of this new one I found because I actually found it after dark. I could see it in the skylight of the trees. It was just happened to be where Ron and his brother were parked with their truck, and I could see it up there. And so I'm going to go back and try to get that one and see if it's any good. But like I told you, they never make it through the winter. They never do. The nests are never reused. People think they are, but they're not. Not in this area. Now, they might be down in Florida or someplace like that where they don't get that cold and where the wasps don't, I guess, hibernate during the winter or whatever. But up in this area, for sure, they abandon their nest after the first frost, and they don't come back to it. And the nest will disintegrate when the wasps leave and they don't keep it up. You know, during the summer, even during the rain and the winds and all that, the nest might get damaged, but the wasps repair it, you know. And I'm calling them wasps, but they're hornets, but they're basically wasps. I mean, pretty much the same kind of thing to somebody who doesn't know any better. Anyway, I did find another one, and I'll hopefully get after that one here in the next day or so. And hopefully it's in better shape. It hasn't deteriorated yet, but we'll see as we get to it. I had another little project on the side that I did. I think I did this Friday evening or afternoon, so here it is. I'm in the middle of a small improvement project. You see this side of the stairs. Look at that side closely. Now let's look at the other side. Do you see a difference? Yeah, I'm putting those giant studs in there. They're lag bolts. They're black, and I thought that would give it a better look, for one thing, but it also is much more strength. They go in much deeper into these boards. Not that that really matters. Here's what they look like, but you can see they're giant. They're just really big screws compared to what was in there. That was what was in there. So I'm taking these out, putting these in. It's a lot of work, but it really makes it look nice, and you know, it's gonna just be that much more solid. Well, those stair lag bolts are in there and finished. I think that really makes it look nice. Just a small detail, but on the other hand, I think it's a cool detail. And it's also very, very, very strong. I thought that kind of went with the vintage, if you will, you know, kind of makes it look old or whatever with those square-headed bolts and stuff. So, plus I just know that makes it that much sturdier. Not that it really needed it, because those are inset in the boards anyway, and they're sitting on a shelf. And so, I mean, it's strong. No matter which way you look at it, it's really, really strong. And let's see, after the stairs project, well, then I think the last thing I have to show you here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I got 2 more things. Um, this next one is about the deer hunting itself, and I did see a little buck, and I got some footage of him, and then about 10 minutes later, I wasn't sure if it was the same buck or not, but I got some more footage, and it turns out I think it is the same deer. So here's that footage. Well, that bleat that you're hearing there, that is a doe bleat. It's a can, and you turn it over, and it makes that sound. And the bucks will sometimes come to that, and sometimes they'll come very aggressively to that. In fact, I've had them actually running, almost charging it. And then they get close, and then they're looking for the doe, and they're like this. They're turning their head, and they're just looking for the doe. I mean, like they're just looking everywhere. And so sometimes it really does work, and other times it's just like that. They'll they'll put their head up and look, but then they just go back to doing whatever they're doing. Now, that particular deer, I saw no sign of any problem or disease or anything, and that's a good thing. I'm glad that's the case. But he looked to be healthy, but then you don't know because according to the conservation, you cannot tell if they have CWD unless they're really showing the really, if it's far along, then they'll have those symptoms where they droop their head and they get real skinny. Basically, they starve to death is really what it amounts to. And so it's kind of a bad thing. So if I see any that look like they're starving to death, I'm definitely going to be putting them out of their misery. Let's see. I'm also, as you know, I've got that little excavator, and I have plans to build a super duper log splitter. And it's going to be a two-way acting log splitter. It'll split in both directions, I'm hoping. And so here's the very, very, very beginning of that. I just started it this morning. I've started the process of making my wood splitter for the excavator. First thing I need is a big shaft. And this shaft is oversized, but it's also got a lot of problems, so I'm trying to clean it up. Well, here's what the shaft looks like. But don't let it fool you, because this was an ugly, ugly shaft. See, it's still not round yet. It was way, way worse than this. I had to take it to a grinder first to grind off a lot of these big welds. Little did I know that these welds are actually in low spots. I did not know that. I put it in here and then indicated it, and it ran pretty true, so I didn't expect it to have this much of a bow in it, but I guess it was more bent than I thought. Anyway, I think I'll still be within spec by the time I get all that out of there, I think. Well, she's looking a whole lot better now. It's a lot of chatter in it, though, and unfortunately. But we'll fix that. We're still big, so we got room to take it down some more. It's at 1.58, and we need to take it down to about 1.51, so we got about 70 thousandths or so to go. Most of the little defects are going to be gone by then, and it really doesn't matter if they are or not for the purpose I'm using it. So, but the better I can get it, the better I'll like it, and we do have a lot of chatter up here. I'm assuming it's because I have a little bit too much stick out on my tailpiece there. But I need that also because of all this stuff here. It's just a pain. It's a small lathe, and you just have to do what you have to do. But it's working out pretty well. And if you're wondering where that pin's going to go, it's going to go in the ends of these cylinders here. I'm making one for each end, and that pin's long enough to make both of them, I believe. I'm going to let that cool off because it's pretty darn hot. I don't know if this thermometer will tell me how hot it is or not. That says 134. On the shiny part, it doesn't really tell you very well. Yeah, it doesn't really tell you very well. I'm pretty sure it's hotter than 99. I know that. It's pretty hot. You can barely put your hand on it. That says 120 something there now. That says 132 on the lathe, so it's pretty hot. Hotter than you want to put your hand on it. Anyway, we'll let that cool off while I eat lunch and get ready for my vlog. So, it should be cool by now. I'm going to go back down there and work on that, and in my mind, one thing about sitting out there on the deer stand, I was able to, in my mind, do my little typical thought experiments for building something. And I walk all the way through the whole process, and I walk through it and try to visualize every step of how I'm going to use it and every step of how, I need to build it so that I can build it and not have problems with it, I try to think through all those problems, what I'm going to have. And I think I finally figured out how I'm going to build this thing. It's going to be unique. I don't think you'll have ever seen one just like it. Although I have to say that Outdoors with the Morgans, he got one for his excavator. That's really where I got the idea. but mine'll still be different than that one a little bit. It's following the basic same basic idea though. Anyway, going back to the deer thing one more time here, at the risk of sounding like I'm beating this to death. Back when I was a young person on the opening day of Missouri's deer season, and I'm not exaggerating on this, it sounded like there was a war that broke out. You know, every morning, well, that first morning especially, on opening Saturday morning, it was pow, 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 boom, pow, you know, just like that. It would random all morning long. I mean, for sure, that first morning, it was just all morning long. You just heard shot after shot after shot after shot after shot. Now, interesting enough, back when there was that many hunters, that much activity, two things. Number one, there was a huge deer population, and it seemed to stay stable. That's number one. Number two is that there was only one or two, maybe three reported accidents each year. With that much pressure, that many people in the woods, and that much shooting going on, there was only two or three accidents reported each year. And, you know, occasionally one or two of those would be fatal. I mean, you know, stuff happens. Guess what? With as few as shots as being fired these days, and as few hunters as there are, there's still two or three every year. Still two or three. So have things improved? Maybe not. You know, maybe not. I think we're in a sad situation. It's a sad state of affairs. Ronald Todd was the first one in this morning, looks like, or today. I say morning because I keep thinking this is morning. I don't know why. Anyway, let's see. David Tharp says, I sold my best prize homing pigeon today for the 11th time. Let's see. Dottie Hildebrand, well, today's my birthday. So far, it's pretty good. Both my kids remembered. Well, that's awesome. And I've already sang happy birthday to you, Dottie, but happy birthday to you. Let's see. Prayers for everybody. Well, thank you, Dottie. Let's see. Moving on down. Well, it scrolled on me again. Man, it really went a long ways, too. Doggone it. Where did it go? Okay. Bill Rhodes says, good afternoon. Let's see. Moving on down. After we went live, looks like Bob says, happy birthday. And Bill Webb says, good afternoon from Commerce, Texas. Rainy Commerce, Texas. Well, that's a good thing, as long as it doesn't go too rainy. Jim Cunningham says, Jerry, I have a Gibson Hummingbird with a bowed mech from heat. I guess that means neck from heat. Truss rod adjustments are useless. Can I straighten it with heat and weight only? Well, okay. The common wisdom is, yeah, you can do that. You can straighten it with heat and all that. But I totally disagree with you see YouTubers doing it all the time, and they press the wood and straighten it and do this and that. But I don't think you're going to accomplish anything. I mean, it will work temporarily, but I guarantee you that it'll go back. It likes to go back to a shape that it's got. So when I get into a situation like that, I fix them, I guess you'd call it mechanically. In other words, I take it apart and I carve it straight or whatever I have to do to make it straight and then put it back together. That's how I do it, because I have done the other thing that everybody says you can do, and it just doesn't work for me. you can get a warp out, you can get a bow out, you can get a twist out, you can do all those things. But they generally will come back over time and come back just like they were. So that's just my opinion. That's my 2 cents. Other people seem to be able to do it, but not me. Not, I think what the difference is, I just don't think they ever make a follow-up video and go, well, it worked during the video, but it's twisted again now, because everything I've ever done does it just like that. So that's my opinion. I think you just need to take it apart, fix it, and then put it back together. Sorry, Jim, but that's what I think. Bill Mumbo, okay, he doesn't have any question marks there. Let's see, sorry. Bob, did you see deep down in the cave? Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if I know what you mean there, but I guess if you're talking about Itchy Boots, she was showing all kinds of stuff there. It was pretty interesting. Michael says his rifle season opens Wednesday after Thanksgiving. Well, Michael, I hope you guys are in better shape than we are here. I've always thought a lot of our Missouri Conservation Commission. In fact, I've seen and read and heard that they're really well thought of in the whole nation. But right now, we're going through what I would call a crisis with this CWD thing. It's getting ugly. So, I'll tell you another thing. Another reason for the few shots, first of all, of course, there's fewer hunters because of all the negative publicity that social media has brought to the forefront. There's just fewer hunters, period. And there's fewer young people taking it up. So that's the first problem. The second problem is the few people that are still in it, and I got to admit, I'm probably guilty of this just as much as anybody, is that they're only in it for the big trophy bucks. Well, I'm kind of that way myself too, but I do still shoot a doe for the meat. We still do that. But that's the thing, is that the deer weren't getting harvested. Even the hunters that were shooting, they'll shoot the bucks. Well, that doesn't really knock the population down very much. As long as there's still does out there, plenty of does, then the population just keeps growing like crazy, because it only takes 1 or 2 bucks to take care of a whole bunch of doe. So you get what I'm saying there. It's just kind of a snowball rolling downhill effect. We've got a problem, and it ain't getting any better quick. And I don't see it getting any better for a very long time, because it's kind of like bluegrass in this area. There's nobody taking up the charge anymore, so it's just dying out. Well, that's kind of the way the deer herds are going to be, I think, too. I hate to be so pessimistic about it, but when they're not kept in check, the disease runs rampant. And where I started to go with that, too, is that because of these trophy hunters, the people that are really into trophy hunting, then they're always putting out food, they're putting out feed, deer feeders, and, they're congregating the deer into one spot. Well, that's what also promotes the disease. Whenever you pull the deer all together, any sick deer is going to pass their sickness on to the other deer, because you're pulling them right together to the feeding station, if you will. Well, I quit once I heard about CWD back, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago. I quit feeding then. I just instantly quit, and I haven't put feed out since. Now, I didn't put feed out, by the way, just so you understand. I did not put feed out to hunt the deer. I never did do that. I put feed out right here in the backyard, sit there in my easy chair and watch them through the window. That's the reason I put the feed out. It was not to hunt them. I never did do that. I never did feel like that was a fair chase situation. So I only hunt them under what I consider, everybody's different, and I'm not knocking anybody else that does that either. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm not poo-pooing somebody that puts feed out. That's their business. If they want to do that, that's no problem with me. But I never did do that. So for me, it was just, but as soon as I heard about the CWD coming like that, it was just obvious as heck you don't want to do that. Well, now it's even illegal in our county to put out feed. for deer because it draws them together. So now the conservation has made that a finable offense. It's just, yeah, it's a bad deal. And I don't see it getting better quick. I think we're in for this for the long haul. Dottie says, beautiful flowers there. Well, thank you. Yeah, Dottie says, if I could ship these deer here in South Carolina, there's plenty here. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, the way the CWD's going, it won't be that terribly long before it gets over there. I mean, it just doesn't take that long. I mean, we got the Mississippi River to divide us, which that will slow it way down. But doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stop it. Yeah, I don't know. It's bad. Let's see. Moving on down. Todd, good afternoon from Brampton, Ontario, Canada. Maybe it's due to global warming. Those animals know something is going on. I don't know. I don't hardly think that's got much to do with global warming. That's such a slow process compared to the deer, lifespan. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they notice that. That's just me, though. Maybe they do. Let's see. David Tharp, I got into trouble at the VA hospital. In the newly remodeled section, I saw a sign that said wet paint, so I did. Ooh. Dottie Hildebrand, I think the deer know to stay out of your shooting lane. Well, there's a lot of people that do think that way. Honestly, there's just a lot less hunters is really what the problem is. I mean, when you only hear 3 shots all morning for opening day of rifle season, when I'm surrounded by public ground, Mark Twain National Forest, compared to when we used to hear, which was about 3 shots per minute, there's a big change. There's been a huge, huge, huge change. It's huge. And with that little bit of hunting pressure, the deer are definitely going to suffer from it. I guarantee you, because there's no predators to keep their numbers in check anymore. And deer, they're like rabbits, man. They populate quickly. Just ask all the people that hit them every year with their cars. Yeah, Dan says, them deer can total a car. My son hit a little buck and totaled his car, and the deer ran off. The only thing he had to show for it was a totaled car and what he had on the dash cam. Yeah, my daughter hit a deer one time too, and it was as pathetic as anything. The poor deer was laying there kicking, on the side of the road and struggling, Well, I got there because my daughter called me, so I drove up there as quick as I could. Well, to help her, I wasn't thinking about the deer at the time, but when I got there, I saw the deer struggling. Well, the cop was there by that time, so the cop pulls out his revolver, tries to shoot the deer, point blank on the concrete road there. I'm thinking, that is the dumbest thing I ever saw in my whole life. So I said, hey, just, he did shoot once, and he missed the darn thing. And so it was pitiful. So I said, hey, stop. Hey, I'll take care of it. So I just walked up there with a knife and put an end to it real quick. And that's the way you do it. I mean, it's not pretty. It's not pleasant, but it's what you got to do. You do what you got to do. And you do it safe instead of putting everybody else at risk with a gun bouncing off of concrete. Ridiculous. Bill Webb, was that a legal buck in your neck of the woods? No, I don't think that one really was. Although I couldn't count all the points. If he had 4 on one side, he was legal. Technically, this year, because of us being in the CWD, according to Ron, now I haven't looked this up, but according to Ron, the CWD rules have changed everything, and any buck, actually any deer, is legal now. Any deer, because they're trying to reduce the population. So pretty much any deer is legal, which is really another just way to say how sad the situation is, because it was always controlled very tightly before. Paul Lanier, Jerry, sometimes the weld cooling off in the side you illustrate will definitely cause a warp. Yeah, that could be. That could be. Paul Lanier, Jerry, heat guns don't register on my shiny metal. Yeah, mine don't either. Put a penny on it, and after a few seconds, shoot the temperature of the copper. Okay. Let's see. It rolled again. It scrolled again. Bill Rhodes, what do I need to do to see comments after you go live? Is this a trick question? I don't know, Bill. I would think that you just look at them. They should just be on your screen there, I would think, unless I'm sure there's somebody out here that knows why that's happening. I don't know why it's happening if you're not seeing them. There's probably some mechanism that you can turn on or turn off that's probably got yours turned off, is what I would guess. But that's just a guess, because I don't really know. Sorry, I'd tell you if I did. Michael Wagner says he's not seen as many deer before season this year. I used to always see a few bucks and 8 to 15 doe out feeding on my pasture. Yeah. Well, I really think we're in a world of hurt here. I'm not saying I'm seeing way less deer. I think I'm seeing less deer. And like I said, I've seen the sign now twice that there's some sick deer here. And it's scaring the heck out of me that there were no shots at all. I mean, 3 shots in the whole morning? That's nothing. That's nothing when you're near public ground, which, I mean, there's thousands of acres of Mark Twain National Forest that surround us here. 3 shots. And you can hear shots for well over a mile away. You can hear them. And there was just no shots. That's just scary. That's just unheard of. If you know anything about deer hunting at all, that's unheard of. I couldn't believe it. It was 7:25 before I heard the first shot. Now keep in mind, the season opens basically at daylight. I mean, a lot of people will crowd it a little bit and shoot a little early, and you would hear shots going off way before daylight, and you'd be going, how are they even seeing a deer, and you'd start hearing the shots way before daylight, and they would just keep going, all the way through the morning. Well, this year it was 7:25 before I heard the first shot. It was 7:42 before I heard the second shot, and it was after 9 o'clock before I heard the third shot. I couldn't believe it. Just nuts. Dottie says her grandson got a 12-point. Well, congratulations. That's pretty cool. To be honest with you, I wasn't sitting out there to shoot a deer, really, other than maybe a doe, because Sue wants me to get one for the meat. But, and if I had seen a really, really big old-timer buck, I probably would have shot that. But other than those 2 options, that's all I was sitting out there for. Well, I didn't even see a doe, first of all. At any reasonable distance. I did see a couple way, way out, like over 500 yards away. But anyway, that's all I was out there for. I was actually sitting there to watch and see if I saw a sick deer. If I saw a sick deer, I was going to put that down. But I didn't see any evidence of a sick deer. And I was also, looking for, I would have liked to have seen a bear. I mean, I wasn't going to shoot a bear, but I was also sitting out there hoping to see one of those, but I didn't see one. David Tharp, in our part of the state, we have designated littering areas. They post signs that say, fine for littering. Well, that's pretty progressive, I think. Bill Rhodes, Jerry, I have a friend that went hunting Saturday, and he said he seen 4 deer within a half an hour. Yeah, well, that's very good. It wasn't that I didn't see any deer. I saw deer. It's just I didn't hear any shots. Is my point is. Bill Webb, we have land that is owned by the local college, means no hunting, lots of deer getting hit on the highway. They should let me and my son-in-law take a few of them out, but they won't. Yeah, it's, well, if you wait long enough, the disease will get them, so you don't have to worry about it. One way or the other, the population will get reduced. Paul Lanier, Jerry, the shaft you had in the lathe was my comment. Okay. Okay. You're talking about the only comment I saw back there was about the heat gun, and I got you on that. Don't register on my shiny metal. Put a opinion. Yeah, I knew that's what you were talking about, but maybe I missed something else. I don't know. It's hard to keep it all straight. Doggone it, scrolled on me yet again. Well, where did it go? Well, let's see. Bill Webb says, if you put out a feeder with corn for the deer here in Texas, all you end up doing is feeding the hogs. Yeah, I bet you that's true. Kenneth Ennis, I see you are still getting that dark line of some of your videos. Yep. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm shooting it with this camera, and there's nothing on that lens. I mean, I've cleaned the lens with soft cloths and stuff, and it's still in that same place. And I don't see anything there that could cause it. So I don't know why that's happening. Michael Wagner, we are seeing mountain lions here. They had one recorded inside of Wichita city limits. Are you seeing any reports of mountain lions in your area? Not lately, Michael. Sue and I both saw a mountain lion here on the farm at different times. She saw it and I saw it. But that was 15 years ago. Haven't seen any sign of one since then. Michael Wagner. Bill, you may have your full screen on. There should be an icon to make the comments along the right side. Yeah, that could be what it is. Anyway, I think that's it. Everything, guys. I thank you for being here. I got 138 viewers at the moment. I hope you guys see where I'm coming from on the deer thing. You know, I don't think there's any bigger conservationists in the world than hunters. Hunters, why do you think they want to hunt? They want to, and they want to see animals. And what hunter doesn't want to see a bunch of animals, And so we don't want to kill everything. We want to see them thrive and do well. And they're not thriving and doing all that well right now. Especially when you consider that, like I said, it was about 10 years ago they first started talking CWD in Missouri, and now it's here. So has it gotten better? No, it's spreading. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that ain't a good thing. Ronald Todd says, we have mountain lions here in New Jersey. One was hit by a car not too long ago. Yep. Well, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt there's still some around here somewhere, but I haven't seen any evidence of it or sign of it or at all. That's going to be it, guys. Thank you all for being here. Like I said, I hope you understand where I'm coming from, because all I mean is good stuff by it, and it's got me worried, and that's where I'm at right now, and I hope that changes, but I don't see it changing anytime soon. We'll see tomorrow with something else.